Hey y'all, welcome back. All right, let's go ahead and dive in and see what Divine Holy Spirit has for the collective. The cards are all upright and in order by way of major arcana and through each element. I hope y'all are well. Thanks for being here. Holy Divine Spirit of the highest white light consciousness, what do you have for the collective? What does the collective need to know and be made aware of at this time? Five of Pentacles revealing itself in the pre-shuffle. Holy Spirit, what would you like for the collective to know and be made aware of? Please, something clear. Y'all, okay, the song is Bombs Over Baghdad. That's before I even approached the table. Within the last 10 minutes, I've been hearing that. I don't know the lyrics to the song per se or what the song was even about, but that was brought to my attention. What else, Spirit, do you have for the collective? So, I don't know. It's like maybe people making light of something disastrous, or maybe it's like they have a clue, but they don't care. They understand what's happening or about to take place. That could be possibly detrimental, but they don't care. It's like, we're going to party like it's 1999 energy. Like we know, I guess at the time, maybe when Prince wrote the lyrics to the song, he knew that, not to speak for Prince, but things were changing, around them, the life and times. Because, Prince was woke. Let's not just kind of glaze over that. Prince was definitely woke, definitely from another dimension. Because the creative genius tells me so, right? But, maybe the impending things that were going on, he had like a foretelling or a seer sort of channeled energy working through him, with him. But party like it's 1999 means just, give it up. We know we got to check up out of here, so we might as well make the best out of it, y'all. That's what I'm getting. And I feel like the bombs over Baghdad might have the same sort of sentiment. It's almost, again, as if someone's like trying to send a message through a means to where not everybody's going to get it, right? Like the interpretation of it. Yeah, the song makes you sing and dance and, want to move around and activate. But what are they really telling you? Like, what's the message? Is anyone paying attention? Or are you just shaking your ass, right? All right, y'all, we got it. And I know we know about the messages put into songs and how, it's not for the best of, people's, their lifestyle, and the messages that are geared towards them are to harm them or lower their vibration. But I feel like this is opposite. This is like the messages getting out to help, aid, or raise consciousness, raise vibrations, like awareness. But to those who don't get it, they're going to say, oh man, that beat is hot. Okay. yeah, it is. You right, it is. And then it's like, okay, next. All right, Spirit, thank you for that. So this has to do, okay, so I'm hearing gift of interpretation. Ooh, that's a lot of cards. Ooh, I caught them. Well, I guess these are the ones that didn't need to be kept here. That fell out. Sorry for the camera shake. But gift of interpretation, you guys. Okay, that's it, y'all. I'm not getting ready to hustle the cards here. All right, so at the bottom of the deck, we have the Magician. So that would fit right in line, right? So where, we're not going to look at this as manipulation, but that kind of is what it has to be at this given point in time. So it's like while people are pressed, they're having anxiety, they're going through it, because of the choices that they've made, right? They chose what particular team that they wanted to side with, but those are the party like it's 1999 energies. They know what's going down, but what are they going to do about it? Are they just going to sulk and fight and all that kind of stuff? Perhaps no. Perhaps they're going to kind of justify what it is that they did and say, yeah, I did it, and what? That could be one point of looking at it. And then the other side, I feel like, of the Magician, because we are dealing with illusion. So I feel like there has to be a this side and a that side. It's like, well, which one do you believe? Which one are you falling for here? Like based on, are you under the illusion or are you not? Because both could say, well, you're the one under the illusion. They both could say that, right? So I figured the other side of the ones who are like, yeah, we did it, and so what? We still gonna live it up, like who's gonna stop us? And then on the other side of that, we have, okay, we need to kind of pay close attention to really what's happening here. So this is giving me more of a huddle energy, like people coming together and using that interpretation energy for, okay, I know what it looks like, but it's not going to fare that way for us. So, this could mean also with that huddle energy is getting together a plan, coordinating something amongst that collective, because they can't help that they're part of this energy of what's around them, but the point is to not be consumed by that, because these people are like burning in hell around us because they understand that that's what it is. So they may as well party, right? That's the illusion. But the ones who are here in the huddle saying, okay, obviously we understand a different interpretation, and we're not going to party like it's whatever it is, that it looks like, because we're not accepting that, because we have nothing to do with that. Matter of fact, yes, we're in hell, but we don't feel the heat. We don't feel the fire, the effects of that. And it's clear. But it's like, okay, so we can't claim, to say that we are part of that environment, because we're not. Even though we are, we're not. So that's the illusion energy of it as well. This is interesting because I'm understanding it's how it plays out. That's the whole gist of this separation of, I'm hearing, of ideology. So there's an idea, that which I refer to as an illusion. This one can say it's an illusion, but that's their ideology. And then there's the other group saying, well, these people over here partying like that in hell, they're under an illusion. So that's their ideology. All right, y'all. I don't know how to make that any more clear other than just substituting different words, but I don't think there's a need to have to go back over that or try to water it down or anything. Because either you're in hell and having the full hell experience, or you realize that you are in hell, but you don't feel the fire. And that in itself would look like some sort of magical illusion to somebody else. Like, how is it they're not sweating? How is it that they're surrounded by all this heat? If we think about stereotypical being in hell, you're supposed to be burning like internal flames and all this kind of stuff. But how are we not on fire? How do we not look like we're suffering, right? So another interpretation I'm getting is like, when you're putting into these circumstances, is like, even though they're like dire circumstances, you make it look so easy. But I guess that's because of the suffrage that we've already gone through, and a surrendering, white flag energy, like, okay, God, you got to take control of this because we don't know what else to do. And realizing that we had to do that in order to make things work. So that making it look easy could appear as an illusion to someone. All right, so we're not going to say it's manipulation at all with the Magician card, right? Or manipulation of energies or elements. Well, I'm hearing someone say, well, speak for yourself. So, if you're blessed in that category to be able to, work with elementals and have things shift into your favor using said elements, then that's your thing. So definitely this is a drop for you to, be able to go ahead confidently in that. So if you've been wanting to work with water because you were drawn to water, you receive messages in water, then that means it's time to take it up a notch. Time to really go in and be that water goddess or god that you are, and claim that, because it works for you. All right, y'all. So, same with somebody who works with fire. Candles may be your thing. And we are talking about illusions here. So what this is telling us, collective, is creating our own environments. That's what we're so good at doing. It's like wherever we land, we make it home. Doesn't matter where that is. It just becomes like a second nature to us. But I feel that's like with elements of grace is what I'm hearing. Like being able to connect elementally, if that's a word, to that environment makes it look easy because we already have that inner connection with said element. All right. I'm sure this will keep going, and which I would want it to, but I want to get through the reading as well. But those who know, you already know. So this is just confirmation. All right, but we make it look so easy. I'm hearing that again. All right, let's look down at the table. Because it does feel like there's people dancing in fire around us. It's like a, I don't know. It's giving me like the scene in, what is that movie that comes on every Easter and sometimes Christmas with Moses and everybody and let my people go and all that. So the scene where they're kind of dancing around when Moses had to go off, they kind of started cutting a fool. You know, they were worshiping the cow and making sacrifices and gold was just flying in the air everywhere. It's giving me that dancing in fire with that sort of kind of energy around us. Okay. Whew. All right. So we do have the 10 of Swords here in the center of the reading. And the 4 of Wands reverse is connected to this energy. So I heard it all goes down in flames. So I can't help but notice that, you know, the 4 of Wands, which would stand for like foundation, family, bloodlines even, get-togethers, the reasons for family get-togethers, celebrations, it's in the reverse. So that means it's, I'm hearing a word I don't use, wearing thoughtful. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. But it's definitely given me an energy of something burning down to a crisp even with the 10 of Swords right next to that. It's like a dead deal, a dead, done deal. That's what I heard. So that 10 of Swords would definitely be a completion, but it's like the worst case possible scenario of a completion. I'm hearing it taking them down with me or taking them all down with me. So this definitely has to do with connection by way of family units, bloodlines. You know, we were already surrounded by the people dancing in the fire, and they don't care what's coming because they're going to go ahead and party like it's 1999 or whatever the reference was. You know, and I guess the fact that you're in hell with them, so it's like you're in their territory, like you've been invited to their barbecue, but you're just sitting there, you know. That's kind of how they're looking at you, divine, but you're just sitting there. But it's like a group of us just kind of sitting there like, you know, this is not really fun for us, but we understand we have to be here. So I'm trying to get a better feel for that energy, y'all. Give me one moment. I heard hashing a plan, but I felt like the huddle energy earlier is what was going on in that particular huddle, was getting together some sort of plan. But that would be you and I collective. My thing is, why do we, okay, I'm not even gonna ask that. I'm not even gonna ask that, nope. Like, it makes me wonder, like, what's the next scene here? Like, if this were even a movie playing out, like, well, what's next? Do the people in the huddle get to break out of hell? And what's that look like? That's what I want to know. But I just feel like it's not time to ask that right now, or even look further than this huddle at this point. I can tell you though, in this huddle, there is no communication. No one's talking. It's like people have their heads down. They're sitting on like the park benches. There's no interaction. So that's a message in itself, you guys. But that's what I'm trying to see. Well, what's going on with that? While everybody else is dancing up in the fire. You know, they know it's a wrap for them, so they might as well go out with a bang. But why are we just kind of sitting there? I wonder if it's like we're sitting there waiting for someone to come rescue us. I'm wondering if that's the sentiment. Because there's no action, there's no movement here. Okay, y'all, my attention was brought to. I hope that we're not the the barbecue. I know we were invited to the barbecue, but I hope we're not like the main course. Like I'm hoping that's not what this is telling us. Let's see what else is out here, y'all. That's a weird note to leave out on, but let me see. Let me see what's happening. And obviously we know that's not going to happen. I just need to know why that's here on the table. So we have the Ace of Pentacles reverse. I have the Death card reverse. 5 of Swords, 5 of Cups, Justice card reverse, 2 of Cups reverse. Oh, okay, y'all. It's not us, you guys, but there are potentials here who kind of got left behind is what I'm seeing. There are potential ones who did not, quote unquote, escape in time. They ran out of time. So those are the ones. But that's giving me that dancing around the fire. It's giving me ritual, sacrificial energy, you guys. Now I understand. So those who were invited to the barbecue, they are possibly going to become the barbecue. Wow. Yikes. Yikes. Let's talk about these cards, y'all. So looks like an opportunity fell through here with the Ace of Pentacles. You know, when I say they had a limited amount of time, so perhaps there was this one final, let me see how they're going to react to this sort of test, and they failed because they took some sort of bait here with this Ace of Pentacles reverse. It had to do with an opportunity that was going to be financially prosperous for them, but it was attached to something that was not providing them some sort of transformation through healing here. It was something that would tie them back to old ways, old friends, old means of making money. And they got hook, line, sinker caught into it with the Death card reverse. I feel with the 5 of Swords here, that was that energy of, yeah, I know what this could potentially do to me. I know the hoods that I'm entering into. I know the people that I'm used to working with and how they can be shady. Like, I understand that, but I need this coin. When they were supposed to walk away from all of this, because I have the 5 of Cups here, regret, remorse, Justice card reverse. They didn't make it. They're not going to receive justice here because they did not do the right thing. They did not handle this test appropriately. No wonder it's quiet, y'all, on that bench. Nobody's looking. They're not communicating. They're looking down because they know that, oh, man, wow. Wow. So that's the sentiment, y'all, for those that were out there who knew to do the right thing, and this was their last chance to, you know, have some sort of Something, you know, expressed to them or lent to them to get them off the hook, or maybe on their way to healing or making things right to get out of a karmic loop that they were in. They trashed it. They failed the test. So those are the ones now that are kind of going through to being danced around in some fire ritual. Definitely this is linked to the element of fire. Could be candles operating in this for this illusion, this manipulation here. I don't know how candles are tied in just yet, but you know, my assumption would be that I'm not even, no, I can't say my assumption. I can't do that. I can't do that. I only said that because I work with fire. Like I work with the fire element. But I can't assume that that's how this person landed themselves where they are now, to becoming some sort of sacrifice here. Because I got the Ten of Swords. It's a worst case scenario ending here. And then the Four of Swords. Let me go back to this because now I understand the park bench energy of them being invited to the barbecue only to become the barbecue. Because there is some ritual magician energy going on here. That Four of Wands reverse means this is their own. Okay, so I said that they were going to take them down with them. Y'all. It can't be that, y'all. It can't be somebody wanting to take down their own family because of them not passing a test. Or maybe the family is collateral damage. Collateral damage, y'all, meaning that they got tied up in this individual's energy because this individual did not do the right thing. Because this was about lineage, bringing the lineage down. Oh no, let me keep going, y'all. Spirits, please remove my ego from the reading. I do not want to hear from my ego. Thank you. Two of Cups reverse. So these were failed connections, failed relationships. I said they knew not to go back to these people. So that could be by way of an ex that they were dealing with, or somehow maybe finding themselves in connections that they knew were harmful, either to them or to that person or for both of them. Whatever they were doing between the two of them was harmful. Page of Swords reverse. There were some untruths told in order to make these connections. And also there's denial energy, denial that they were even in a position to mess up because they didn't realize that how strong that stronghold really was. The illusion was they really weren't doing anything wrong. That was an illusion when they really were. Justice card reverse. Death card reverse. And we have the Seven of Wands reverse. So this has to do with being, I don't know, I'm seeing somebody being battered, beat up here. Somebody being jumped, ganged on. Somebody being left for dead even with this Seven of Wands reverse. What I'm seeing. So I heard brutalized. So they got beat up very badly. Is what happened. Yikes. All right, y'all, I want to tie up this energy. There are quite a few loose ends for me as a reader. So I want to get a little bit more perspective here before we part. Spirit, please clarify the energies on the table and let the cards fall as they may, please. Thank you. I'm hearing quite the discussion. So quite the discussion means when this person comes to you, collective, if they probably won't, because they will not have the chance to, but it will bring forth quite the discussion. It'll be a lot of hair raising claims and terms and statements coming forth about what this person has been through. We have the Lover's card at the bottom of the deck, so this could have possibly been an ex of yours, collective, if not family member energy. And maybe this person that's described here is a family member of yours, and possibly you have done everything to try to distance yourself, but they try to pull you into this. It's giving sister brother energy. You know, you've tried to be helpful, you know, coming up as, you know, young adults, but something just kind of got to a place to where you had your own family and you could no longer nurture this brother energy because you knew they needed nurturing or they needed some sort of looking after, but you decided that it was too much of a toll on you mentally, physically, spiritually, that you had to part ways. But this person seems to always have held some sort of grudge on you or against you and other family members, but really you took it to heart the most because you were the one that was there for this person. So that's pretty specific for someone, if that was the case. I'm also receiving that. I'm hearing he chose, or they chose, many lovers. This person who could not quite get it right. All right, let's look at the clarifiers here that fell out over this Four of Wands reverse and this Ten of Swords. And then that battered, what I heard brutally or brutality or something with that Seven of Wands reverse. So let's talk about it. We have occupation here. So this had to do with a line of work. But I figure with the Ace of Pentacles, there was one offer they could not refuse, but it ended up costing them. It cost them their life, what it sounds like. High honor, right behind the occupation. Maybe they had a lot of attention doing this job, this occupation, whatever it was. Maybe it was easy money is what I'm getting. It was an easy money sort of position. So we'll have to do with some sort of street life energy. We have the bad health card underneath this with the occupation. So it's something that ultimately laid them, I heard laid them to rest. I mean, the Ten of Swords would also confirm that sort of energy. But laid to rest, meaning possibly they were so brutalized or whatever damage was done, it put them into some sort of, I'm hearing mental health, but maybe it put them in some sort of hospitalization energy to where, you know, they might have to remain under some sort of permanent care. Yeah, Ten of Swords, bad health. Because then may I mention that, you know, that picnic bench or park bench or whatever I said earlier, they were invited to the barbecue only to become the barbecue. Like, they're just sitting there, right? It's a group of them kind of just sitting there. They're not talking heads looking down. But they have time to think now. How did they end up where they, that's what I got in the channel. How did they end up where they are? But at that moment, I wasn't sure if that was you and I, Divine Collective, but I was like, this can't be us. But we know who it is now. But during that time, it was like they were sitting there like, how did I even get here? So they don't even realize that they're in hell right now. They don't know it. They're physically there, but they're not sweating. There's no signs of them sweating yet. So maybe that's part of that illusion energy to where they're in hell, but it doesn't feel like it all the way. Maybe because they were so used to dancing with devils that they don't even realize that they've been dancing in hell the whole time. only for them now to see people dancing and celebrating around them, which was giving ritual, sacrificial energy, that they're literally moving and dancing around, like creating, siphoning up the energy. But these people have no energy. They're quiet, bad health. They know this is it. So it's different. There's two different sides here, even residing in that hell energy. Wow. You have family members right along with them, like they can't even face each other. They can't even look at each other, because family doesn't even know how they wound up sitting alongside their relative in hell. They don't even know how they got there. Now, there were some things possibly that were done to land them there, and I said maybe collateral damage, even maybe those little white lies, them abating this loved one, saying that yeah, my brother was in Vegas that weekend, when your brother was not, but somebody ended up dead behind your brother supposedly being in Vegas, and you said that was the case, but there still has to be justice for the family of this victim, who you vouched for. Your brother did not do the crime when your brother actually did, and you know that they did. So no, you got to pay for that. So that's how you wound up in jail with him. I said jail, hell, jail, same thing. Same thing. So we could be looking at jail as well, because that would be, what is that? I mean, aiding and abetting, of course, that's what we've always been saying on this channel, because there has always been an energy of people who were riding for this thief, for this liar, for this cheater, for this killer. They were always riding for this person, and you knew they were wrong. So no, you got to take that ride too. All right, y'all, we got the message of concern, unexpected income, and then the concern card. Wow, it's a lot of concern here. So these are people kind of just sitting, waiting. I said they were, okay, y'all, in the channeling, I did say these people were sitting around because I didn't know who was who at that point. I said it seemed like they're waiting for someone to come rescue them or to come save them. But that's what this concern card is giving me. Message of concern means they're waiting for some sort of out here. Unexpected income would maybe have to do with who's going to bail me out. It doesn't have to be a literal bail, but since we're talking about jail as well, it's like, well, who's going to let me out of here? Even with the hell reference, who's going to get me out of here? Because they're in denial still that they're even where they are. Because it doesn't feel like they're in hell, but they really are. Maybe it doesn't feel like they're in jail if it's a physical jail, because, you know, they still feel entitled, like they have some sort of freedom. Like, no, I'm not, that's not me. I'll never be that person. Can somebody please come get me out of here? Like they're in jail, but they're denying that they're jailed. As crazy as that sounds. But we're talking about the Magician card at the bottom of the deck, y'all. This has illusions written all over it. All right, y'all, I can't wait to watch this one back from the beginning to connect the dots for myself as a reader. But yeah, I hope this helps.